Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Dutch ebook before it's gone.
Hi there and welcome to this Dutch class. My name is Stella and today we're going to talk about some different phrases that you can use to amaze native speakers of the Dutch language. Are you ready? Let's go!
Dank je, maar eigenlijk ben ik geen native speaker. Thank you, but I'm not a native speaker actually.
After this class, people will automatically assume that you're a native speaker and then you can baffle them with this sentence. Dank je, maar eigenlijk ben ik geen native speaker. Dank je, maar eigenlijk ben ik geen native speaker. Thank you, but I'm actually not a native speaker. So make sure this comes out completely fluent because you don't want to ruin the effect. So did you notice that the Dutch verb for native speaker is just native speaker borrowed from the English? That ought to make it a little bit easier for you.
Ik had maar een jaar nodig om er vloeiend in te worden. It only took me 1 year to become fluent.
Next sentence. Ik had maar een jaar nodig om er vloeiend in te worden. Ik had maar een jaar nodig om er vloeiend in te worden. And this means it only took me 1 year to become fluent. Now don't feel bad if this is not true. Dutch is a notoriously difficult language to master, so it will probably take anyone more than a year.
Ik spreek in 3 jaar tijd Nederlands als een native speaker. I'll speak Dutch like a native speaker in 3 years.
This one is a touch more realistic. Ik spreek in 3 jaar tijd Nederlands als een native speaker. Ik spreek in 3 jaar tijd Nederlands als een native speaker. So this sentence is said like it's like a New Year's resolution, right? So if you want to say that it has already happened, then you should use the past tense. So you would say, ik sprak in 3 jaar tijd, instead of ik spreek.
Ik ben al 10 jaar Nederlands aan het leren. I've been learning Dutch for 10 years.
This next one is for everyone who feels that it's going to take some more time. Ik ben al 10 jaar Nederlands aan het leren. Ik ben al 10 jaar Nederlands aan het leren. I've been learning Dutch for 10 years. So to be honest, even native Dutch speakers make mistakes. I've been learning Dutch for 27 years. It's a hard language, guys, so don't feel bad.
Ik kan Nederlandse films zonder ondertiteling kijken. I can watch Dutch movies without subtitles.
Here's one that's a true accomplishment and it's within reach. Ik kan Nederlandse films zonder ondertiteling kijken. Ik kan Nederlandse films zonder ondertiteling kijken. And this means I can watch Dutch movies without subtitles. Now the only question remaining is, why would you want to watch Dutch movies? I'm just kidding. There's one movie that I really do like and can recommend, and it's called Minoes. The story is by Annie M. G. Schmid, and it has Carice van Houten in it. So it's a really great movie. It's about a woman who's actually a cat, I think.
Ik kan ongeveer 50 nieuwe Nederlandse woorden per dag onthouden. I can memorize around 50 new Dutch words a day.
Next phrase. Ik kan ongeveer 50 nieuwe Nederlandse woorden per dag onthouden. Ik kan ongeveer 50 nieuwe Nederlandse woorden onthouden. I can memorize around 50 new Dutch words a day. So if that's really true, then I applaud you. 50 words is a lot to remember in one day.
Nederlands is leuk en makkelijk te leren. Dutch is fun and easy to learn.
Nederlands is leuk en makkelijk te leren. Nederlands is leuk en makkelijk te leren. Dutch is fun and easy to learn. Now, to be completely honest, I don't agree with this. I feel it's disheartening to say that any language is easy to learn. I mean, sure, we're trying to make it as easy as we can for you, but it takes a lot of hard work, and also it really depends on what language you're coming from. Like if you already speak German or something, it'll be a lot easier. So however hard or easy you think it is, go you. You're doing great.
Naast het Nederlands kan ik ook nog een paar andere talen spreken. Apart from Dutch, I can speak a few other languages as well.
Naast het Nederlands kan ik ook een paar andere talen spreken. Naast het Nederlands kan ik ook een paar andere talen spreken. Apart from Dutch, I can speak a few other languages as well. So if you're watching this, you at least speak English fairly well, and probably a little Dutch by now. So good job. And if you don't feel that that's enough, I can recommend Swedish. It's a pretty language.
Ik leer Nederlands helemaal zelf. I'm learning Dutch all by myself.
Ik leer Nederlands helemaal zelf. Ik leer Nederlands helemaal zelf. I'm learning Dutch all by myself. If you are, don't do that. The key to any language is communication, and really listening and speaking with others would really help you learning this language. So whenever you can, try to practice your listening and speaking skills with a buddy who's also learning Dutch, or even better, with a Dutch native speaker. So studying by yourself is impressive, but learning with a friend is faster and more fun. So try to find someone to study with.
Ik begreep alles van wat je zei. I completely understood everything you said.
Now, if things are going really well and someone is unsure about your Dutch skills, you can say this. Ik begreep alles van wat je zei. Ik begreep alles van wat je zei. I completely understood everything you said. So Dutch people will switch to English when they think that maybe it's easier for you. So to prevent them from doing that, make sure you can say this sentence so you can practice your listening skills and speaking skills too, maybe. So congratulations on finishing this lesson in 10 phrases you can use to amaze native Dutch speakers with. Thank you for watching. If there's anything you want to know more about, let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe, and if you want to learn more Dutch, you can go to dutchpod101.com. Thanks for watching.
So, you decided to learn a new language. At first, the idea seemed exciting. You bought a phrase book, dictionary, and a subscription to an online class, ready to dive headfirst into the language. For the first day or two, all was well. You gained ground quickly, learning a few basic phrases and words. A week before, learning that language was just a dream, but now you're actually doing it. Then, the third and fourth day roll around. The excitement is wearing off. You encouraged yourself to continue, and another week or two goes by, but with a lot less progress. Suddenly, learning a new language doesn't fill you with excitement anymore. Now it feels more like dread. Sometimes it feels like you're drowning in grammatical cases, verb conjugations, and wonky pronunciation. It all seems too much to handle, so you start to think about giving up. But we encourage you not to give up. Learning a foreign language is difficult. We won't pretend like it isn't. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. Sometimes you just need to take a step back, reevaluate your approach, and come back to the language with a different perspective. In this video, we'll look at 4 tips for when learning a new language feels overwhelming. Number 1, set aside a designated study time. Consistency is key when learning a foreign language. Studying 15 minutes 7 days a week will benefit you more than cramming in 2 hours 1 day a week. Set aside an amount of time that works best for you. If you can afford to spend an hour every day learning, that's awesome. Go for it. But don't feel bad if you can't spend that much time. Even 10 or 15 minutes a day goes a long way. Breaking up your learning into manageable time segments will relieve a lot of the stress that can come with studying a new language. Learning is not a race. Go at your own pace and try not to compare your progress with anyone else's. Number 2, take it one bite at a time. Now that you have your schedule under control, it's time to focus on what you'll actually be studying. It's recommended that every 1 to 2 weeks you focus on learning a very specific piece of the language. It could be a conjugation group, a case, tense, or a collection of theme vocabulary. Whatever you choose, hone in on it and do your best to feel comfortable with it before you move on to something else. Ever heard the saying, "How do you eat an elephant?" Focusing on one thing at a time helps you break the language into digestible chunks. Number 3, expose yourself to the language in different ways. Don't just sit around reading about grammar all day. Obviously, knowledge of grammar is important, but you want to spice up your practice as much as possible. In addition to grammatical study, try to mix in a combination of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Try to practice reading by either translating a simple article into your native language, or maybe if you're a beginner, pick up a children's book in your target language. For writing, you can try to write out a fictional conversation between you and yourself even. Use the phrases you know to create a mock conversation, and don't use any words you can't think of or you don't remember. To practice speaking, you can find native speakers locally at a language club or at a meetup. You can also find them online in a language exchange. For listening, a great podcast should do the trick. Spread out each type of practice, listening, reading, speaking, and writing, across your regular language study schedule. This will give you a balanced experience in the language and should help keep things interesting. This method also works well when you use it to focus on a single aspect of the language like we talked about above. Number 4, set mini goals, not just big ones. If your only language learning goal is to be fluent, you're likely setting yourself up for disappointment. While speaking fluently can be your ultimate goal, it shouldn't be your only one. Try to set mini goals month by month and week by week. It could be something simple. Learn 20 new verbs, practice a new case, or speak with 3 native speakers. As long as it's specific and reasonable to achieve in a shorter amount of time, it should work fine. Not having mini goals alongside your ultimate goal is a lot like sprinting across a huge open field. There's no reference point, so for much of the time it feels like you're not any closer to your goal. It's not that you're not moving forward, it just feels like you're not. Without any trees or buildings to run past, it seems like you're running in place. Mini goals are like the trees and buildings of your language race. They help you see that you're moving forward and give you a sense of accomplishment. The desire for perfection can get in the way of your progress. Don't freak out when you struggle to speak or make a mistake. It's all a part of the learning process. Also, don't be afraid to speak, even if you know what you'll say won't be totally correct. It's better to do your best to communicate in the language and get it wrong than to never try at all. Learning a new language isn't always easy. In fact, oftentimes it's very hard. Don't let that discourage you, though. Use these tips to help keep you focused yet unstressed in your language learning. A little perseverance will go a long way. Before long, you'll be speaking better than you may have thought was possible. And for even more help learning a new language without getting overwhelmed, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Want to speak your target language with confidence and impress native speakers? When learning to speak a new language, you have lots of things to think about, including grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Because you're thinking of all of these things and trying to speak, it can be difficult to communicate with confidence, especially in the beginning. This is why it's helpful to make confidence-building exercises part of your language learning process. In this video, you'll learn 7 ways to boost your confidence. 1. Read out loud. This might seem pretty basic, but it's a great way to practice speaking. Reading aloud lets you practice speaking without having to think about grammar or things to talk about. Reading out loud lets you focus on your pronunciation and the rhythm of the language. It can help you learn to speak more smoothly and quickly, without even thinking about it. If you're using our lessons, read the dialogue out loud as you listen. You can read along with the dialogue tool, the lesson notes, or the transcript. 2. Read like a child. This might sound strange, but think about children learning to read. They go slow and sound everything out. Maybe it takes 2 or 3 tries before they read a new word smoothly, and a few more tries before they can read it at a natural pace. This example applies to language learning too. If you find a complex sentence in something you're reading, read it slowly at first, then speed up. With practice, you'll be able to say it easily. It might feel a bit silly to speak very slowly, but this kind of practice can help you identify tough sounds you might miss or say incorrectly when reading quickly. 3. Use the dialogue breakdown tool. If you're using our site, this is a great tool to take advantage of. It breaks down lesson conversations into individual lines. You can listen to the audio for each line, learn what each line means, and can reread and review as much as you want. 4. Use the voice recorder to record and compare yourself with native speakers. Just click on the microphone icon next to each line in the dialogue section. You can use this tool to perfect your pronunciation if you like, but this is also something you can use to work on speaking with confidence at native level speed. You'll find this tool in the dialogue section of all of our lessons. 5. Repeat and review old lesson conversations. Reviewing what you've studied in the past is the best way to make sure you maintain what you've learned. Go back to older lessons, download the lesson dialogue tracks, and re-listen to the conversations again and again. Or you can reread the dialogue lines from previous lessons until you've mastered them all. 6. Shadow conversations. Repeat what you hear out loud. This tactic is important, but it can be tricky when you're doing a brand new lesson. If you're reviewing dialogues from lessons you've done though, it's super easy to do. Just listen to the dialogue and repeat what you hear. Shadowing means mimicking the speaker as soon as they speak, following their intonation and rhythms as closely as possible. 7. Send recordings to your Premium Plus teacher. If you want to speak with confidence, there's no better confidence boost than feedback from a native speaker, and you get just that with a Premium Plus teacher. You can record yourself reciting a lesson dialogue or any dialogue of your own, and your teacher will give you specific tips on how to improve. From the tips your teacher gives you, choose at least one and practice, practice, practice. Being able to react quickly and with confidence in a conversation is typically not something you can do on your first try, but if you continue practicing, you'll gradually find yourself speaking with ease. And for even more ways to build your speaking confidence, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Hello everyone and welcome to today's lesson. I'm Stella and today we're going to learn how to pronounce the 10 hardest words to pronounce in Dutch. Let's start with one of the hardest numbers to pronounce. 88. 88. 88. Mijn opa is 88 jaar oud. My grandfather is 88 years old. It's usually that weird raspy that trips foreigners up. I was in France one day talking to my sister in Dutch, and a shop clerk literally burst out laughing and started mocking our G's. Lovely. Afstandsbediening. Afstandsbediening. Remote control. Heb je de afstandsbediening gezien? Have you seen the remote control? This word can be easily split up into two parts. Afstand, which means distance, and bediening, which means controller. So literally it's distance controller, like remote control. Angstschreeuw. Angstschreeuw. A cry of distress. Ik hoorde een angstschreeuw. I heard a cry of fear. So this is a really great one for playing hangman because it has 8 consonants in a row. Don't worry if you don't get this right. It's not a common word, and as you probably could hear, it's not my favorite word to pronounce either. Duivenvoer. Duivenvoer. Pigeon food. Daar kun je duivenvoer kopen. You can buy food for pigeons there. Now, I'm not really sure why this is such a hard word for foreigners. I think it probably has something to do with the ui sound. So let me know in the comments where you're having trouble. Gevarendriehoek. Gevarendriehoek. Warning triangle. Een gevarendriehoek hoort in een auto. A warning triangle belongs in a car. So apart from that first sound, it's not such a difficult word. Just get over that first bit and then it's smooth sailing. Goochelaar. Goochelaar. Magician. De goochelaar en een konijn. The magician and a rabbit. So this one has that nasty sound at the beginning and at the end of the first syllable. So just keep practicing, I suppose. Grafiek. Grafiek. Graph. Dat is een moeilijke grafiek. That is a difficult chart. So keep in mind that the Dutch say their A's differently from the English A. It's much more A. So it's grafiek, reunie, reunie, reunion. Morgen hebben we een reunie van school. We have a reunion at school tomorrow. Now, don't confuse this with ruïne, which looks similar, but it means a ruin. So you have reunie and ruïne. Schatje, schatje. Cutie. Wat een schatje. What a cutie. So you can also say schatje to your boyfriend or girlfriend. It's not just for small things like pets or babies. Schoenpoetsborsteltje. Schoenpoetsborsteltje. Shoe polishing brush. A great example sentence. Schoenpoetsborsteltje is een lang woord. Shoe polishing brush is a long word. Endlessly imaginative, this. So well done, guys. You've reached the end of this lesson in how to pronounce the hardest words in Dutch. Let me know if there's any other words you find especially difficult. Tell me in the comments. And remember to like and subscribe. And if you want to learn more Dutch, visit DutchPod101.com. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to 10 Dutch phrases you always want to hear. I am Stella and I will be giving you a lot of compliments today. Have fun. Je ziet er geweldig uit vandaag. You look great. Let's start with je ziet er geweldig uit vandaag. Je ziet er geweldig uit vandaag. You look great today. Always nice to hear, right? Don't use it too often, you don't want it to lose its meaning. Ik mis je. I miss you. This next one is rather sad. Ik mis je. Ik mis je. I miss you. As you can hear, the Dutch and English version of this are very similar, so it's easy to remember. You usually say this when you're on the phone with someone, in other words, when they're not actually there with you, or you say it about someone else. You could say, for example, ik mis mama, I miss mom. Dat heb je geweldig gedaan. You did a great job. This is a nice one if you want to tell someone they did well. Dat heb je geweldig gedaan. Dat heb je geweldig gedaan. You did a great job. You can also shorten it to goed gedaan or goed zo, meaning good job. It's a little more casual that way. Je krijgt aan het eind van de maand een bonus. There will be a bonus at the end of the month. Je krijgt aan het eind van de maand een bonus. Je krijgt aan het eind van de maand een bonus. There's a bonus at the end of the month. So nice to hear. Sadly, it doesn't happen as often as we'd like. Je kunt erg goed koken. You're an excellent cook. So imagine you've gone to dinner at a friend's place and the food was great. You could say, je kunt erg goed koken. Je kunt erg goed koken. You're an excellent cook. So if the food wasn't really good, but you still want to be polite, but you also don't really want that person to ever touch a pan or a stove again, you can say, dankjewel voor het koken. Thank you for cooking. This is still very nice, but you don't have to actually say that dinner was amazing. Neem even pauze. Ik ruim vandaag op. Take a break. I'll do the cleaning today. Neem even pauze. Ik ruim vandaag op. Neem even pauze. Ik ruim vandaag op. Take a break. I'll do the cleaning today. Isn't that nice? When someone tells you to just sit down and relax for a while. Maybe try using it today and say it to someone. You're sure to make some friends that way. En jij wint. And you win. So this is what you say at the end of a game. En jij wint. En jij wint. And you win. You can also say it to end an argument if you feel that maybe the other person was right after all. You can say, all right then, you win. Vooruit dan maar, jij wint. It will get you some points to admit you were wrong. Je had gelijk. You were right. This next one is also great to admit you were wrong. Je had gelijk. Je had gelijk. You were right. Feel free to say this to me anytime. I don't mind. I really don't. Ik heb iets speciaals voor je meegenomen. I've brought you something special. Now, imagine you've taken a long trip and you have brought a special gift home with you for your sister, who is Dutch. You can give it to her and you can say, ik heb iets speciaals voor je meegenomen. Ik heb iets speciaals voor je meegenomen. I've brought you something special. Now, please don't say this if it's just a t-shirt with the Eiffel Tower on it. Really save it for when you really picked out something special for your sister. Het budget is onbeperkt. The budget is unlimited. This one is really nice if you're planning a party and you want to hire a fire breather, but you're not sure if that's too expensive. And you ask that to someone, is that too expensive to hire a fire breather? And they say, het budget is onbeperkt. Het budget is onbeperkt. The budget is unlimited. This means go ahead with the fire breather and make sure everyone has their own personalized cocktail. This party is going to be great. Congratulations, you've reached the end of this class and you can now say 10 very nice things in Dutch. If you have any questions or suggestions on what you want to learn next, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to learn more, go to DutchPod101.com and I will see you next time.
Want to speak real Dutch from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at DutchPod101.com.
For some, learning a new language seems to come naturally. For others, the entire process feels more like a tooth and nail struggle. However, if you've had a negative experience learning a new language at one point in time, don't let that discourage you from trying again. The truth is that learning any language is never easy, but it's definitely possible. Sometimes the difference between success and failure has less to do with your abilities or talents and a lot more to do with the way you look at things. In this video, we're going to look at how to avoid 5 serious mistakes made by new language learners. Number 1, listen before you speak. Being slow to speak and quick to listen is good life advice, whether or not you're learning a foreign language. Effective listening is essential to communication. As a beginner, there is a tendency to concentrate so much on what you're going to say and how you're going to say it that you can completely miss the meaning or heart of what the other person is trying to communicate. Not only will this impair your ability to listen in your target language, it will also stall what little conversation you had going. Remember that conversations are a two-way street. If you're speaking more than listening, then you actually have more of a monologue on your hands than a dialogue. The inputs of language learning, listening and reading, are just as important as the outputs, speaking and writing. For a beginner, inputs are even more crucial, as they are the main way you acquire new vocabulary. We even go so far to say that for new students, the best method for learning involves more listening than it does speaking, though that may change with higher proficiency levels. Number 2, don't be embarrassed when you do speak. People's next mistake usually comes from the other side of the spectrum, where new learners are too scared or embarrassed to contribute to a conversation. The fear of making mistakes and embarrassing yourself can paralyze your language learning. It's vital to remember that everyone makes mistakes. Even native speakers had to find their way through the language when they were children. Making mistakes while learning a new language is inevitable, but it's also a good thing. The faster you make mistakes, the quicker you can correct them and move on with your learning. So instead of being afraid to make mistakes, try looking at them as steps towards progress. In reality, that's what they really are. Number 3, don't fixate on minor issues. If taken in all at once, a new language can feel overwhelming to learn. It's so easy to get discouraged by all your little mistakes and conversational mishaps, and you lose sight of the progress you're making. In addition to mistakes, you'll also come across plateaus, where you study and practice consistently but don't see any results for a significant amount of time. But whether you face errors or plateaus, remember that these things are minor obstacles on the road to fluency. The most important thing is not to give up. Stick with it. If you stay persistent, your mistakes will be corrected and your abilities will improve. But if you slow down or throw in the towel completely, then you'll either subvert your progress or nix it altogether. So remember that as long as you're still studying and learning the language, you can't lose. It might feel like you're losing the battle for language learning for a little while, but hang in there. A practical way to help you stay motivated is to make small weekly goals. Research shows that goal setting has a significant impact on learning. Try picking one aspect of grammar or a collection of new words or phrases to study for the next 7 days. At the end of the week, check your progress and measure your success. Setting little benchmarks like this will give you a rightful sense of accomplishment. Number 4, remember that immersion isn't magical. A A lot of people think that by moving to a foreign country, they will learn the language by osmosis. But whether you learn abroad or at home, you still need to study and practice the language. Living in a new country gives you way more opportunities to do this than staying at home. But if you don't consciously take advantage of these opportunities while living abroad, it won't benefit your language learning. If you're an expat living in a foreign country, there's a natural inclination to hang out around other expats. Learning a language and living in a foreign culture is hard and uncomfortable. For better or worse, we're often drawn to the easier road. If you made the decision to study abroad, then you want to hang out with native-speaking people as much as possible. You have the rest of your life to be with people who speak your language. This doesn't mean ignore your expat friends. Just be sure that you're giving proper attention. Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Dutch ebook before it's gone.